Do your best. Let's go. Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lions.
Oh my God! Victory Sunday.
The Giants look at their schedule and they go, "Oh, the Detroit Lions," and they put the big W, right?
Correct.
It's folks. It's everybody that is on the screen right now that is what makes this special, because this organization has been so bad for so long. Yet here we all are on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, chopping it up about this football team, because winning 3 in a row and getting this done for the first time since 2017, and like Mark said, having some momentum for this fan base.
When we played against the Patriots one game on Thanksgiving, I had a pretty good game too, and it was just the atmosphere is just different. It's just there is just everybody's ready. You get a chance to wear the throwback uniforms. It was just.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think you got to have a good program, but I think the city, the way it's viewed nationally, like the people in Detroit, the business people, the money makers, the marketers, they got to market Detroit different nationally.
Welcome to the Detroit Lions News Show. Our Detroit Lions won 31-26. We have a huge panel here tonight, guys. I can't wait to get talking about this. Man, what was your reaction? This is a live interactive show. Please be in mind, we have former great Mel Far Jr. on the show today. How you doing, bud? I'm super excited to have you as a special guest.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Walter Stringer was at the game. How you doing? Lions Avenue? Woo-wee!
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, man. Being able to sit through the first 3 quarters, what we were able to sit through. If it was rough for the fans at home, you know how it was there, especially sitting amongst a lot of Bears fans. They were there. They had a pretty big turnout as well. But yeah, it's very, very exciting, man. Can't wait to talk about this game tonight.
Last but not least, we have Mark Orem with Orem's Forum, Lions Nation Unite. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. My heart rate's still up. Football game was, it was a tough one to watch for 3 quarters, like Walt said, but man, we came through in the clutch. Big win for the Lions, going 8-2, number 1 in the North. Go Broncos.
So this is a live interactive show. I'm going to do hosting and producing at the same time. I'm also going to introduce you to Mike the Bear fan. Mike, how the hell is it going? Well, you're muted, buddy.
Muted.
Like you said, it was great for the first 3 quarters, but I'm going to say 3.5 quarters, technically, the last 4 minutes. The coaching was terrible on the play calling.
So we're going to start off with the last 4 minutes of the game. Walt was saying in the pre-talk that a lot of people left the stadium. I thought it was pretty loud. Walt, can you, I'm going to sit back and produce. Can you talk about the last 4 minutes?
Yeah, certainly. Digging back even deeper into probably the last 10 minutes of the game, once the Bears went up 26-14, it was a really eerie silence over the entire field. Nothing really uneasy, no booing, no yelling about golf stinks, or no yelling about any other players aren't having a good game. The fans kind of were like a couple grumblings, but they were still pretty into it. There was no real significant feel of the game being gone out of our grasp, honestly enough, because the Bears weren't able to score enough touchdowns, honestly. They kicked a bunch of field goals, and I think we've become a team now that you can't beat just kicking field goals. The Jameson Williams touchdown was it. I think that was the game that was the play that tilted everything. It made it 26-21. That play was like a jolt of energy into that building, and they were on their feet from that play on out through the rest of the game. And the Bears were able to pretty much control the game when there was not too much pressure going on. after the JMO touchdown, I had a feeling that they weren't going to be able to pull it out, mainly because it was just too much pressure on them now to withstand drives and hold us off, because it was still plenty of time. And I don't think they were really, that team in general right now was not really mentally put together to really stage us off like that. That was a crazy rally. 26-14 at that point in time in the fourth quarter. Even if you are on the road, you expect to close the team out.
Me? Let me go next. Okay. Yeah, man. After that fourth quarter, there was about 4 minutes left in that game. I even made a post in one of the Lions chats, or actually it was an NFC North chat, that, hey, man, this is an embarrassing loss. Detroit Lions got to pick this up. And I never really do this. I've never done this. I'm kind of the guy, like I'm ride or die right to the last second. And I just felt we weren't going to come back. And I made a post, and I'm paying for it right now. I'm getting dragged in this post, in this NFC North group, which, hey, well deserved. But hey, man, I just made a little bit of a mistake. I left these guys for dead, man. And then, like Walt said, we scored that big JMO touchdown. The energy got up. I stood up in my room, like in my house. I was in my recliner, and I was like, okay, man, maybe we got a shot here. Bears get the ball back. They try to run the football, and you could see that our linebackers were literally 2 yards off the ball, like right on the D line's ass. They knew the Bears were going to run the football, so we stopped them. Boom, boom, 2 big stops. Fields tries to go deep on a shot, which I'm not sure what they were really trying to do there. I don't really know who that. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is over there in Chicago, but I thought that it was really bad play calling. And then we got the ball back, and I was like, we're going to score a touchdown, man. I can't believe this way. We're going to score. David Montgomery, man, was a stud all the way down the field. Jared Goff was precise. He was hitting passes. He had a terrible game overall, though, for the first 3.5 quarters, but he showed up big when he needed to. And they went up, and then that's all she wrote, man. And then Hutch with the big sack, with the big strip sack and the safety. The big fella really needed something like that, too. I thought, man, he's supposed to be that game changer on defense, and he showed why. He was the number 2 overall pick, at least on that play. So it's good to see him get off the schneid with the sacks, sorry. And then, hey, 8-2. That's all I can say, man. I'm still in shock. We won this football game, but I never should have made that post. My bad. Go Lions.
It was looking bad, though. It
was looking bad, man. It was looking terrible.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's a mark of a good football team. That you have a special football team when you can win ugly. It's better to win ugly than to lose pretty. And you see the Lions are growing up as a team, and they're taking on the personality of their head coach. And, they're tough. They're never going to give up. When you turn the ball over 4 times and you lose the time of possession, Chicago had the ball twice as long as Detroit had the ball, and you're able to come out of that football game with a win. That's huge, and that's a character builder. That's something that they can, use later on down the road. Typically, in our experience as Lions fans, that's a game that we definitely end up losing. There's no question about it. But these guys believed in themselves. They believed in one another, and they went out there and they got it done, despite the fact that they definitely should have lost that ball game. Like I said, when you turn the ball over as many times as they did and you play as ugly as they did, you should lose that game. But they found a way to make the plays when they needed to make the plays. Defense kept them in the game, kept it close enough, kept the offense within striking distance that all they had to do is just put together one series, make one play, just play the next down and continue to make plays, and that's how you come out of there with a victory. It was good to see, that for a long time, like I said, that hasn't been the case with the Detroit Lions, but you can see that they definitely take on the personality of their coach.
Yeah, like you said, we dominated the time of possession. I'm just gonna blame coaching at the end. They limited the play calling. They just said we're gonna give it to our running backs, like you said, that we're 8 men in the box. Like you should have kept the playbook open. Through a slant, something like just going straight to the run. into the heart of that defense, I thought that was terrible play calling at the end. But I got to give you guys props. You guys are 8-2. Bears are 3-8. We look pretty good, but you guys didn't give us a shot in the dark to win. Nobody really did.
Yeah, I want to go back to the beginning of the game itself. It had a very odd feeling to it. Lions weren't able to really get out of their own way, even aside from the very first Jared Goff pick, not being able to really sustain possessions consistently. The play calling itself, I think, outside of the big play to J-Mo, that play calling, passing game-wise, is very vanilla, was very vanilla today. And I think moving forward, they're going to have to add a few more wrinkles. Hopefully they can get something out of another big-time receiver. Maybe it's J-Mo. Maybe it eventually becomes Donovan Peoples-Jones. I don't know. Maybe Laporta takes this game to a whole nother level. But that's a team that can't really afford, I think, to start slow like that offensively, consistently. It worked against the Bears. It may work against Green Bay on Thanksgiving. I don't know. Both teams are on a short week right now, having to turn around and play again right in 4 days. But I just feel like the slow start against the Bears kind of bothered me because at the end of the day, yeah, David Barnett's right. They played ugly and still won. And that's the thing. The Bears just didn't close it out. You know, we took it. And I told someone that I was standing next to at that point in time in the game, they just felt like after the Jameson Williams touchdown, it was a dagger to Chicago. Like they didn't have the same pep in their step offensively or defensively on the field the rest of that game. And, you know, you can make sure at the end of the day, all you can do is beat the teams that's on your schedule. You know, the Bears have been playing better over the last few weeks, even though Badgett had his issues. I think overall as a team, they've been playing pretty decent. But, you know, it's a divisional game. I actually had Detroit winning big heading into this game, but I always knew in the back of my mind that the Bears could make it a serious game. I'm just shocked that they started as slow as they did. And I kind of felt like, okay, they started as slow as they did in the first half. Maybe they'll pick it up in the second half. Didn't pick it up in the second half either in the third quarter. But the most important thing is they finished the first half good, up 14-10 with the lead. Finished the game very well, on fire. Ended up with the lead, won. So,
yeah, man, the beginning of that football game was really weird to me as well. The Chicago Bears marching down the field. Justin Fields looked like he hadn't missed a beat in a month. He missed the prior 4 weeks, I believe it was, and he just marched down the field, man. He was running the football. He was making nice, crisp passes. We couldn't really get too much pressure on him, and if we did get any type of a sniff of a pressure, Fields would just get out of it and just complete a pass or run for a first down. And then Goff came out, and he just didn't look good right away off the bat. He was missing passes. He had a couple picks. He just didn't look good overall in that first quarter. And he should have had more turnovers than he did, or more interceptions. Anyways, I think he had 2 or 3 on the day. He should have had 4. He should have had at least 4. Jalen Johnson from the Chicago Bears just missed a 99-yard touchdown, pick 6, and we somehow went up 14-10. Going into that half, and I was just like, man, it just don't feel right today. It just didn't feel right. They just couldn't get anything going. The pressure on the defense, just like the offense was stagnant. I just didn't understand what was really going on, and one of the worst games I've ever seen Goff play as a Detroit Lion. It looked like he was under Anthony Lynn, our old OC there, man, when he first came to Detroit, like still shell-shocked that he was a Detroit Lion. So, the bounce back, it's a Chicago Bear. I'm not going to make fun of the Bears, but we handed that game to the Bears, and they just handed it right back to us. That was one of those games, and these are the type of games, though. I don't want to destroy the Chicago Bears here. I don't want to do that. But it's like, when you get handed a victory like that, and then you just give it right back, there's all kinds of problems going in there in Chicago. But I think when you win a game like this too, and I think Mel kind of said something too, this kind of bring forth some, fighting through adversity, I think is a really good thing here. And I think it can bring a little more unity. This team's already loving each other up. These guys are all about unity, kumbaya, all that kind of stuff right now. But I think a victory like this, even though it was ugly, but a victory like this at home, you're down and out, you're not playing good football. You come back late into the game, you score 2 big touchdowns. I think J-Mo needed that big one too. I'm so proud for J-Mo. I love that because I'm just rooting for that kid to succeed here. And then we make a stop and make another touchdown. Dave Montgomery, former Chicago Bear. It was so well. The script was so well written. It feels like it was scripted. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in that garbage like that though. But it felt like it was written. I just felt like it was written, and I think that could bring a team up like that. So it's still a victory. It's not the greatest victory and all, but it does bring a little bit more unity, I think, to the club.
This is a trap game. You look at it there, it was sandwiched in between two teams that had pretty high expectations for the season with the LA Chargers, and then you have the Lions hosting the Denver Broncos on the Thursday night game. And then you got the Chicago Bears, who I don't think a lot of people had picked doing too much this year. And then you look at what they've done this year thus far, and the fact that their quarterback is just coming back from injury. I think the Lions didn't take him as seriously as they should have. They looked at their record and they say, hey, we just go out there and show up. We should beat these guys. But they forgot that those 53 guys over there, they get paid a paycheck as well, and they have some pride. And they decided they wanted to come in there and they're going to play. And they're going to see what they could do. They're going to lay it out there, lay it on the line, see what they can do. And the Lions, thought it was like a Mike Tyson fight. When he's fighting Vander Holyfield, and they thought he could just go out to play. Thought they could just show up, and all of a sudden you get hit in the mouth. You realize, man, I'm in a real fight here. I gotta fight back. And I think that's what the Lions found, what the Lions found themselves in. And it took them a little while. They were stunned initially, and it took a little while to shake the cobwebs for them to come together and finally say, okay, guys, we need to get serious here, or otherwise we're going to leave out of here with a W. With an L. And like I said, they were able to do what they needed to do in that last series. The defense hung in there, made enough plays so that the offense could, when they finally, were able to shake the cobwebs and clear their head, they could go down there and make the plays that they know that they can make and end up stealing a game. Because again, that's a game that they should not have won, but they did win. But it's a character builder game. Even when, it's kind of tricky because it can say, well, we can go out there and play bad, we can still win. No, that's not. It's not going to happen against good football teams. That's typically what happens when you play against bad football teams, when you play down to the level of the competition that you're playing. And I think that's how the Lions approached this game today. They said, well, we'll just come out here, we'll give it 3/4 effort and see if we can come out with a W. You got to play. You got to play balls to the wall each and every week when you go out there. You got to play every game, every down like it's your last. And then you'll play the game, play the type of game that you're expected to play. But unfortunately, they played a very ugly game. But fortunately, they came out with the ugly win.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Also, I think it was very important for Goff to show he can galvanize this team. They finished the first half strong, finished the second half strong, of course, with the win. And, I'm not going to be as rough on them about their interceptions as a lot of other people are, because I'm a guy who believes in, if as the quarterback, if you throw us into a bad situation, I can deal with you. If you throw us out of it and you get the win at the end of the day, you're going to have games like this. It's going to happen. This is his last dud. When was the last time we really seen a performance like this, of this magnitude from Jared Goff? Since, early last year, maybe the New England Patriot game a year ago. So, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, man, he answered some questions, because it's not going to always be pretty. A lot of Goff skeptics out there, I'm one of them, have been that way for a long time. Sometimes some of us will keep moving the goalpost on him. Okay, well, I want to see him be the reason we win. Okay, well, when they see him be the reason that we win, they say, okay, well, he didn't do it pretty enough, so that doesn't matter. If he does it pretty, but he comes up short, we still knock him down for that. I think today was the type of game that he needed, right along with this young football team. But people have to keep in mind, this is a very young football team, and they're learning how to win in a variety of ways. He's slowly building more and more confidence. He's learning how to win with this team in a variety of different ways, whether or not Amon-Ra St. Brown is having a hot day, or Reynolds is, or guys are dropping passes. He's steadily figuring out ways to win games. So I would just tell Lions fans, don't rough him up too bad. I mean, the three picks looks bad. He honestly could have had 5 picks, if we want to be realistic about it. But, woulda, coulda, shoulda, ifs, whatnot. He had his 3. He came through in the clutch when we needed him to. Big drives to end the first half, major drive, monster drives to end the second half, and they walked away with the victory. Now, people are going to, of course, bring up contracts. That's all fans do after every great golf performance or poor golf performance. Well, the money. Should we pay him this? Should we pay him that? I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm living in the moment. I'm happy as hell for this football team because it's been a long time since this city could get behind a quality football team like this. They may not be as talent-laden as some of those Stafford teams that we had back in the day, or even the mid-'90s Lions of Herman Moore and Brett Perriman and Morton and Barry and all those guys and David Sloan. They may not have all of that. But this team has character, and they got a very unique sort of soul about them. To, for a lesser extent. So I'm very proud. I'm proud of Goff. Like I said, I've been one of the biggest Goff skeptics from the very beginning, but I got to get credit when credit is due. He's doing his job. If we want to talk about style points, really no quarterback in the league is doing it extra sexy right now. They're all just gutting out wins however they can gut them out. So I'm not going to knock our quarterback for it. And I think Goff is doing a hell of a job right now.
Yeah, kind of like touching on the turnovers too. You got 4 turnovers. You're not really supposed to win football games. So, and that goes back to high school. That goes back, and that goes back to even college too as well. So, and then the NFL is just not even heard of. It's just not even heard of. And 4 turnovers. Your quarterback's giving the ball away. He's giving away presents. It's early. It's not even Christmas time, and he's just handing over interceptions after interception. Just handing the victory to him, and it's like Walt said, man. Proud of Jared Goff for fighting through that. That's he wears well. He's a leader of this football team. He's not this crazy emotional Phillip Rivers type guy that's gonna hoot and holler all over the sidelines, run up and down. He takes it. He just moves on to the next play. I love that about Jared Goff. He does have ice for veins. He's cold, you know what I mean? He doesn't really get into his feelings too much. You don't see his emotions too much on the field. When something good happens, he does. When something bad happens, he just kind of moves forward, man. He's laser focused, and he was having a bad day, man. And then after the game, he's talking about the turnovers, and he's like, I needed to be big when, I wasn't having a very good game. I needed to step up at the right moment, and that's what they did. He had the 3 interceptions, should have been 4, maybe even 5. Like Walt said, and then with the Craig Reynolds with the big drop on the kickoff with the big fumble there, lots of turnovers, man. You're not supposed to win those type of games, but they fought through, and that's a big step forward, especially for this type of team. We all know what type of team this is, guys. This is like one of those teams like SOL, man. SOL lost. Like those teams 3, 4, 5 years ago, even longer, are not going to win this type of football game. It's just not going to happen. They're going to put their heads between right between their legs, and they're just going to go through the motions, and they're going to get blown out, or they're going to somehow make it close on some fluky play. But that's not what they did, man. They just kept moving forward, and they won the football game. And it's not a pretty win, but it's a win, and it's 82, baby.
Yeah, people have to understand it's hard to win at any level, but in particular in the NFL, it's very, very difficult to win. And you're able to come out with a W, that's huge. No matter how it looks, that's huge. Nobody's going to recall at the end of the year what that win looked like. All they're going to know is that it was a win. And, having a guy like Jared Goff who doesn't let those negative plays affect him, or he doesn't show that those negative plays affect him, I think that's huge, because that's one of the things I used to say about Cam Newton and even Kyler Murray. When they're having a bad game, they're having a bad game. When the team's playing poorly, the team's playing poorly. Cam would always sit on the end of the bench, man, with that towel on his head, with his head down. Kyler Murray, you can see his body language. He'd have his head down when he wasn't playing well, or the team wasn't playing well, the team wasn't winning. And that, other players, you're the leader of that team just because of the position that you play and the fact that you touch the ball every single play. Other guys are going to see that, and they feed off of that, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. And the fact that Jared is just able to kind of let that just roll off his back, kind of like water on a duck, I think that's a huge bonus for the Lions and for the rest of the guys. That, you know, even though he may not be a big talker, you just look at his body language. He always has good body language, and I think that's good, especially for a young football team. For him to come out there and for him to do what he did at the end of the game, I think that's really, really big. And I think that's something, again, like I said, that builds character. It builds character in this football team. I think it's something that they will be able to draw back on somewhere down in the future.
Yep. Another thing I'm very impressed with is the fact that it's 3 games in 11 days. They pulled out one at the Chargers last week in a very close, highly contested, high-scoring game. They pull out a game like this, and then, of course, in 4 days, they got Green Bay coming up. Throughout those 3 games, I had a feeling they were going to lay a dud. Now, I'm very happy they laid the dud and still managed to win, and I'm happy that the dud didn't occur on Thanksgiving. But I had a feeling that 3 games in 11 days, they're only human. You know, they're due for a bad performance, whether it was going to be against the Chargers, the Bears today, or the Packers on Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful that they laid the egg against the Bears, and the Bears were just bad enough to just give the game away, because you need wins like that, of course, throughout the journey in the season. So like I said, I'm ecstatic about that, man. Ecstatic about it. To me, this means that they're going to have a hell of a great performance on Thanksgiving. Both teams are coming off 4 days of rest, 4 days between games. Packers pulled out one, Chargers gave away one of them. They can't seem to get their head straight. So I'm glad it happened today. So to me, that means I don't see this team laying 2 duds in a row, especially not on Thanksgiving. So they should. I don't want to get too deep in the Packers right now, but I expect a pretty good performance from this team on Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, like touching on that too. That's what Dan Campbell talked about at the beginning of all this at the start of that Chargers game. He was like three games in 11 days, and that's big. And like, you know, they laid the dud today. Fortunately, they got the win, so that's really good, man. I'm just really concerned moving forward. My biggest concern moving forward is still the pass rush. It always has been since like for a while now. You know, we saw Kaminsky get in there a little bit today. He didn't have any sacks, but you know, he had a big knockdown on a third down about a ball. I mean, he got a little bit of pressure in there. Well, Aleem McNeil doing his thing, but if we don't get guys like Aleem McNeil making that steady pressure, I feel, and you know, and we got Hutch in there, and Hutch is working his ass off, man. That kid is 150% every single play, every day, and we saw it at the end of the game. We saw it at the end of the game. He was, you know, he was bull rushing. He got in there. He finally got home, strip sack. You know, then Aaron Glenn giving him a hug like he just saved his job, which I don't think his job is in any type of jeopardy right now. But just the way Aaron Glenn hugged Aiden Hutchinson was like, man, it was just like, you know, like a father holding his son, man. It felt really good, but I am concerned about this pass rush moving forward, because like I said, if we don't get that inside pressure, especially from guys like Aleem, and Aleem had a nice big sack today as well. If we don't get that type of pressure, you know, and Hutch is doing his thing, but he's not getting home per se, where else is it going to come from? So, you know, and I don't want to bash on Holmes or anything like that. I love what Brad Holmes is doing, but I just think we missed the boat a little bit on picking up a pass rusher at the trade deadline. I'm not even saying we needed to even bust out a first round pick or anything like that, but it just concerns me big time right now.
I think, you know, I misspoke earlier when I said the sandwich in between the 2 games. I looked at the schedule and I saw, looked at the second time when they played Chicago, and then they played Denver after that. So it's even bigger, you know, a bigger trap game when you look at the fact that they're going to play a division rival on Thanksgiving. I remember looking at the game last year on Thanksgiving, and that was a pretty similar game as what we had today. It wasn't a very pretty game. The Lions ended up losing that game. And, you know, that's one of those games that cost them from being able to make the playoffs. So it's a game that they should have won, but they didn't win. Well, here's a game they should have lost, but they found a way to win. So that's huge. Like I said, that builds character. You know, as far as the defense is concerned, they definitely need to be able to get home with 4. They got to figure out a way to get there, because anytime, especially when you play against the better quarterbacks in the league, They can take advantage of you when you decide to bring extra rushers in. Aiden, I've watched him a lot this year, and he's not a someone that offenses fear. He's not like a Fredrickson with Cincinnati. He's not like the guy over there with the Raiders. It's not somebody that you fear because he has a lot of false steps. He he doesn't have enough tricks in his repertoire right now as far as being able to get home, and he takes too many false steps. In other words, where guys might get there in 4 or 5 steps, he might be taking 6 or 7 steps, and that's that extra step is the reason why he's late getting to the quarterback. He's got to really work on. You look at the Bosa's, like I said, the Fredricksons. I can't think of the guy's name over there with the Raiders, man. He's just an outstanding guy.
Myles Garrett, Max Crosby.
Crosby. I mean, those guys, man. Yeah, he's got a motor like Crosby, but he just doesn't have. He takes that extra step. Once he really learns that position and really works on that position, because of his work ethic and because of his relentless pursuit of the quarterback, he'll be a good pass rusher. But he's got to really work on his game, work on his strength, and work on his bag of tricks. He's got to get some more tricks in the trick bag, man. You can't be a one-trick pony. You just can't try to bull rush everybody. Those guys are big on the other side. They get a paycheck too on Monday. They got a family. They're not trying to be embarrassed on national television either. They don't want their kids going to school talking about your daddy, got bull rushed and the quarter he sacked your dad and the quarterback
in 5th grade talking bull rushes.
Yeah, you just can't bull rush everybody. This is big time football here. You got to have some tricks in the rep. You got to learn how to do an arm under. You got to learn how to arm over. You got to learn how to all the other moves. You got to learn how to do those moves, but you have to learn how to do them with the proper footwork as well, so that you can get home. Because they definitely need to be able to get pressure with 4, because you leave yourself vulnerable in the secondary if you have to bring extra rushers in.
Well, I'm going to ask you a quick question about Brian Branch. He had a pretty solid game as well. Today, I thought the role he was in, which kind of gets shown and really put on blast when you see him against mobile quarterbacks. I thought he did as well as a game as Fields did have. I thought Branch did pretty well within the box. Do you guys think he has even more to what he has on the field right now? And maybe we'll see it next season. They'll start to unleash more to his game, his repertoire on the field. And I was talking to someone like during the game on social media, and I was saying, if you look at his size, athletic ability, sideline to sideline range, his intelligence within the box, he doesn't have to be great in coverage, because neither was this guy right here, but he was damn good enough. To me, he can be a Brian Dawkins type of player if they start using him more within other sets.
Oh yeah, with Brian Branch, I thought he had a pretty decent game. Obviously, those 2 illegal contacts, you give up 2 first downs, that's not good. But when you talk about Brian Branch, I think that he hasn't reached his full potential of what he could potentially be. I think when you look at Brian Branch, there's 2 things you got to look at. You got to look at that he has the raw athletic ability, and that he is a smart player. I think if you're a smart player and you got that athletic ability, you're going to be fine for your career. Now, I think that he's going to make some strides in the second half of the season, but I think the best Brian Branch is going to come in year 2 and year 3.
Yeah, man. The Brian Branch thing, I think Walt hit it too, man. He's super athletic. He's so explosive off the ball. And then when you watched him at Alabama, his strength was in the box. I thought he was a really great in the box safety. He didn't miss, I think, any really tackles during his Alabama days. He's almost a linebacker out there pretty much. And you just see the explosion. Coverage ain't his real forte. I think he's going to get better year 2, year 3, like Joe said, which was really good there. And I thought the one penalty he had, at least I think the first penalty he had, I thought was really weak. Yeah, he had his hand kind of on his back. He might have tugged his jersey for a second, but the ball was going on the other side of the field. I thought that was a ticky-tack call. But Brian Branch, he made a couple big plays. He explodes into the backfield. He made that big stop. I don't remember who it was on. It was on either Khalil Herbert or Rashawn Johnson. I forget who it was. But you can just see the explosion. You can see that he's going to be a good player. And I think of Brian Dawkins is a really good comp right there by Walt. So, Walt Dawkins wasn't the greatest cover safety, but he brought it. He brought it every day.
Yep.
He was Weapon X. He was Weapon X. I loved watching him play. I think Brian Branch could be something similar to a Brian Dawkins, man. So, yeah, man, I expect big things coming in the second half, like Joe said, too, and year 2 and 3 coming up.
Yeah, I think you have to be pretty excited about what you've seen with him. He comes from a good pedigree. He comes from Alabama. We know Nick Saban likes to play defense. And particularly, he likes to coach defensive backs hard because he was a defensive back. So you have to be pretty excited about this kid. I don't know if he's 100% healthy right now. Really, nobody is at this particular point in the season. But you can feel good, kind of like, Benny Blades, although not as big as Benny. Benny was much bigger, but you need a guy back there, who's an enforcer. That guys know is going to be there, that's not afraid to put his head in there and mix it up a little bit. And I think that's the type of player that he is. Plus, he's playing with a little chip on his shoulder. The Lions got a first-round talent. They got him in the second round. And, he's a little upset about that, I'm pretty sure, not going in the first round. So I think the best days for him are still to come because he's still young. The NFL is a tough game. It's different than the college game. Even though SEC plays big-time football, it's still different than playing in the SEC. And I think, there's great days ahead for the Lions and Brian Branch.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like Brian Branch, and like I said, there's not really much more to say about him. He's a rookie. He's going to go through his bumps and bruises, especially through like this year. I just love the way he plays football. Like Mel said too, he's got a chip on his shoulder. What kind of football player don't you want if he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder? So, that's a good thing for the Detroit Lions to have.
All right, so we got a big game coming up tomorrow night. Eagles at Chiefs. First place in the NFC could be at stake. Can the Lions be in first place after tomorrow night's game?
I got an opinion on this right now. Taylor Swift is going to be at the game, okay?
Oh.
The Swift family is going to meet the Kelsey family, okay? When when Taylor Swift is in the house, Travis Kelce goes off. Kansas City by 500.
Plus 500 money line.
Yeah,
500.
Okay.
500. Woo.
I think this is gonna be a hell of a game, though, man. I think a lot of teams use the Philadelphia Eagles as their measuring stick. I think the Dolphins used the Eagles as their measuring stick earlier in the season. They failed the test. The Dallas Cowboys, that's their nemesis, of course, in their division. They failed the first test. They got Dallas again in a couple weeks. But yeah, Eagles at Chiefs. Eagles need to prove that they can beat this team to themselves because I think with the Joe Burrow injury in the AFC, the Deshaun Watson injury in the AFC, both ironically enough in the AFC North, the road could be paid for the Chiefs to walk right back out of the AFC, and the Eagles have just as good a chance as anybody else of making it back out of the NFC. So they could see this team well enough again down the road. So they need to beat them. I think it's very important for Philly to beat them. They know they need to beat this team, and I see Philly winning a very close game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anytime you have a rematch of the Super Bowl, it's going to, you're in for a good football game. A lot has changed from last year. Both coordinators are gone from Philadelphia. The offensive coordinator is gone from Kansas City. Kansas City offensively has not looked the same as it looked last year. I look forward to seeing this game, but I think as much as it's going to hurt the Lions, I see Philly winning this game.
Yeah, I kind of have the Philadelphia Eagles win this football game too. I think it was a graphic about Jalen Hurts to where he was like 10-0 versus like top 10 teams in like the last 10 meetings or something like that. I kind of forget what the graphic was totally. Someone might want to correct me on that, but it was a very good record for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's going to be a good game. Like Walt said, I think the Eagles need to come out and need to prove to the world that they can beat a team like this. It's a Super Bowl rematch from last year. And I think it's going to be a barn burner game. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. You got two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against each other, and Hurts and Mahomes. Love it. You got two good defenses. And two good
stars everywhere.
What's that?
Yeah, I agree. Stars everywhere.
Stars everywhere, man. And like Joe said, man, the Swifts versus the Kelseys, man, they're going to be in the building. And we're going to find out.
See, I told you.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out if Kelsey goes off, if it's the real deal. Getting pretty sick and tired of oh my God.
So I'm on the Kansas City train. The rest of you guys are on the Philly train. I see how it is. Well, if you follow my betting logic, I've had some pretty rough losses, so you guys might be in a good spot. So.
So this is an awesome show. We're going to cut it short here tonight. I'm so stressed. I've bitten my nails right to the nubs here because I thought those fucking Chicago Bears were going to beat us. They dominated us for 56 minutes, and Matt Eberflus just shit the bed really realistically. We're going to end this. Let's go around the round table here. Let's go with the predictions for the Green Bay Packers and our Detroit Lions for Thanksgiving. And what are you guys going to do for Thanksgiving? I'd really like to know. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm a big fan of your dad, and I'm a big fan of you, kind of. I don't know. Walt's the guy, right? So he scouts everybody. Do you have any kids coming up through? Or grandkids that are going to be big time players in the league, because this is what Walt does, right? And this is what Joe does too.
No kids. I mean, well, my son, I have 4 girls and 1 boy. My son played football at Brown, but he's 33 now. My grandkids, they're not gonna play football. I love them. I love them.
Yeah,
you know when you have a whole bunch of girls, what's the old saying, right? You don't go deep enough, or
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, come on!
Never had any complaints there,
bro.
We've gone off the rails, man.
Yeah, I thought this was a PG show.
I know. Okay. So, what's your predictions for the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions for Thanksgiving, and who's all going to the game? Walt, start it off, or let's go Joe here. Start it off.
I said it on my video that I just made before I came in here. I think with the Lions having their worst game of the season, because it was literally their worst game of the season, you can't even say it wasn't. I mean, 3 interceptions from Jared Goff. One of his worst games. He coming into Chicago, he didn't have an interception against them throughout his career. So 3 interceptions is crazy. But I see this team getting back on track. Usually when they have a bad game, the next game they have like this out of world experience. So I expect them to just lay it on the Packers. They're gonna bite the crap out of the kneecaps, and that's what they're gonna do. I would say 35-14. That's my opinion.
I won't give you a score, but the Lions are going to win. Typically for us, that's been like our Super Bowl. It didn't matter what the season looked like. When they played on Thanksgiving, you knew you're going to get everything they had. You're like, man, where's this been all season? And I think that trap game came at the right time. That's something that Coach Campbell can use as motivation. Even though coming in with Green Bay, they're not a very good football team, but that is that's an arch nemesis. That's a division rival. That's a game that you want to win. We went up there last year, last game of the season, with Aaron Rodgers there in conditions that favored Green Bay and ruined Green Bay's season. They'd love nothing more than to come in here to our home and ruin the Detroit season. Although it probably wouldn't keep them from going to the playoffs, but that is going to be a blemish on their record, and that's something a feather that they can put in their cap. So I'm definitely picking the Lions to win this week.
Yeah, man, this will be, we'll be playing these guys. We'll be going for the 5th straight victory against the Packers. We've already got them 4 straight. We just beat them up this year, earlier in the year. This is another matchup, our second matchup of the year. So, the Packers came out this week, beat the Chargers. Jordan Love had a pretty decent game against Chargers, threw for over 300 plus, a couple touchdowns, looked pretty good. The Chargers don't really play pass defense though, so we're a little bit different there than the LA Chargers. So I expect us to, to beat them. I think we're going to score 30 plus on them. I thought we were going to score 30 plus this week. Came fairly close, I guess. Or we did score 31 points, didn't we? I forget what we scored. I totally forget what the score was of our game today, but I do expect
31-26.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, 31-26. Okay, yeah. Then we did. Yeah, then we scored 30 plus on them too. I expect the same. I think the Packers defense, can be shoddy at times. I expect us to run. They just lost Aaron Jones for the year too, I believe today. I think he went down with a pretty bad injury. So I don't really know the significance of it, but I heard it was out for the season. So I expect us to beat the Packers this Thursday, short week. Same with the Packers. They got the short week too. So it should be interesting, but I think we're going to put 30 on them, and, they might score 14 to 20 points. So I'll say 33 to 16, 33-16.
So Walt's going to end off the show unless you guys got something else to say. I'm going to be down there, and I got those Green Bay Packers without Aaron Jones. I got those Green Bay Packers putting up a good game against us. That defense kept the Chargers below 20 points. So I got the score. Let's go 28, 25, I think, for the Detroit Lions. And Walt, if you could end the show here.
All right, no problem. Oh, yeah, also one quick update. The Seattle Seahawks are currently losing to the Rams 17-16. Believe it's 42 seconds left in the game. Seahawks have the football. So that's great news for us if Seattle can go ahead and fall down to 6-4.
They just made a big play. Geno Smith to DK Metcalf for 21 yards. So
yeah. All right, so getting to the Lions, man. I'm not gonna get into the score till probably Wednesday night when we decide to go live and break down the game completely. I do have the Lions winning though. Like I said earlier today, I think today was that one dud. Just thankful that we were able to pull a win out of that one dud, but not going to win all of them in very impressive fashion, but we were able to pull it off today. So like I said, I'm going to go with Detroit on Thanksgiving. I'll get into the score a little bit later on, but no way this team loses. I think they run the table, and I've mentioned this numerous times over the past couple weeks. I think they run the table to get to roughly 12-2 before that Minnesota game, Week 16. I think Minnesota Week 16 is the game that could potentially trip us up. I think we handle New Orleans, which is on a Monday night in New Orleans. I think we beat Denver. I think the Denver game is going to be very difficult, though. More difficult than a lot of people believe. We beat the Bears again. I just see this team beating the teams they're supposed to beat by any means necessary. But I do believe that Minnesota game is going to be very pesky.
Right on. So this is the end of the show. Any of you guys want to say anything?
No, I'm good, man.
Thank you.
Hell of a Sunday,
all.
Man.
Hell of a Sunday.
Well, yeah.
Hell of a game, man. It feels great to be on the winning side of that and not be on the complaining side, man. How many Sundays we had spending 4 o'clock complaining?
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. We're the 519, right?
Thank you, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. 519, brother. Represent.
And thank you for coming on, Mel. If you want to come on, I'm not expected to do a show until I'm not going to do one next week. This guy.
Anytime, guys, man. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the topic. So anytime, I'll be privileged to stop by.
So that ends this edition of the Detroit Lions News Show. Please subscribe Detroit Lions news show on YouTube, and to all the other podcasters with this big win of 31-26 for the Detroit Lions.
Do your best. Let's go. Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lions.
Oh my God! Victory Sunday.
The Giants look at their schedule and they go, "Oh, the Detroit Lions," and they put the big W, right?
Correct.
It's folks. It's everybody that is on the screen right now that is what makes this special, because this organization has been so bad for so long. Yet here we all are on a Sunday night at 7:00, chopping it up about this football team, because winning 3 in a row and getting this done for the first time since 2017, and like Mark said, having some momentum for this fan base.
When we played against the Patriots one game on Thanksgiving, I had a pretty good game too, and it was just the atmosphere.
And here we go with the offcuts. What's going on, guys?
Not a whole lot, man. My grandson, he's raising holy hell upstairs, so I gotta go upstairs and tend to him now.
Got you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
having me. I
No,
appreciate it.
seriously, you did a great job. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So this is a legitimate story. Then I was hearing about a couple hours ago. Says NFL fans are calling for Lions quarterback Jared Goff to be investigated by the league for point shaving versus Bears. Total Sports says Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions looks to pass during the first quarter of a game against the Chicago Bears at Ford Field. Oh boy! So they really believe Jared Goff, and if Jared Goff performs poorly, he's point shaving. That's how great. How great the level of elitism Jared Goff has reached. If he plays poorly, he's point shaving.
But they said it about Patrick Mahomes when he had 3 interceptions against the Jets. Man, come on.
What do you guys think of the show tonight?
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, you jumped on. So, hang on. Did you get your real estate license? We need all us fans need to know.
I'm on track to get it right now. So
did you get it or no?
Well, I gotta take another test. So, and the state got to approve it too. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
You always waiting on the state, for everything.
Oh, someone's talking to somebody. So I just put on my, who's ready for Thanksgiving? Because I am ready for Thanksgiving, guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It doesn't happen. The show doesn't happen without these two guys, Joe Chap, and Walter, and having the odd special guest on. Thank you for subscribing. Detroit Lions news show. I try my best. I get former players on. I try to do my best. I get radio personalities on like Matt Derry. This is the segment. Now, this is the segment where you guys are allowed to come on. So I'm going to post the link in the chat. Jump on. Ask these two professional podcasters, what do you think about the Lions? Yeah, no, maybe so.
Yeah.
Shit. Tank Dell, 8 for 149 and 2 touchdowns.
What a hell of a game, and I didn't put him on my parlay.
Boy, that boy's serious.
Man, you know what?
he got a good quarterback.
I gotta tell you, I've had the worst parlay luck in my entire life. I'm just gonna keep this simple with you. So last week I lost the freaking parlay on 12 men on the field, and this week I lose a Dak Prescott rushing over because Zach I think it was Zach Martin or one of the, I think it was either him or the center. He got a holding penalty, and that bitch came back, and I was like, man, damn.
Yeah, buddy.
What a game today, though. That was a wave of emotions, man.
Yeah, man. It was, like I said, you had to be there, man. Because that place got quiet. For like 2 quarters, that place got quiet. And when J-Mo scored that touchdown, it was like a shot of Mountain Dew.
Well, I was telling in my video that I'm gonna release after this. That was probably the most clutch thing that happened between those two, ever. Between Jameson Williams catching the ball, Jared Goff making an on-the-point throw.
That level in the game, the magnitude.
Like, you can't get any better. And I know a lot of people get down on Jameson Williams, including me, but he had a hell of a game. He had a couple of games, and now it's all starting to come together. And you can kind of feel like the Jared Goff starting to develop a chemistry with Jameson Williams. And that's a scary thought, too. And we talked about it. Me and you talked about it all the time. Like, if they get this deep threat, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest about it. And I said this going back to the NFL draft and even post NFL draft after they had already selected him. He may never be like that consistent pass catching target like St. Brown is, or the way a guy like Larry Fitzgerald was, or whatnot. And I think that's what a lot of fans took it the wrong way when Dan Campbell made those comments regarding him a few weeks ago, that he may never be just this natural pass catcher. I think that's what he means in that fashion of the phrase. But can he be a Deshaun Jackson? Yeah. Can he be a game tilter? Because that's what he did today. Like that game, this game today, and probably the Tampa game a few weeks ago, offensively were kind of duds. Yeah. And he tilted the game in both of those situations.
Yeah, if JMO if he can just get on track, even Deshaun Jackson be good, but I was thinking more like, I think he has the ability to like be a kind of guy like a Tyreek Hill. I really do. I just think that he has to get his level of play up, And with him,
he has to want the football too.
Yeah, you got to want the
Tyreek
football.
attacks the football.
Yeah, but if he keeps getting open like this, I mean, Jared Goff's going to go to him a lot, so I'm not really worried about what JMO did, and that catch and pass, that was freaking great. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, I just say Deshaun because it's very similar. Deshaun made an entire career, possible borderline Hall of Fame type of career, off of returning kicks, which Jameson doesn't do, but running pretty much three routes. He was running deep ends, he was running posts, and he was running fades. From time to time, they'll give him a comeback. Like they give JMO, he'll catch the comeback with his chest, because Deshaun really didn't have the best hands either. Mm-hmm. But if he can just play that type of role, if you can be that game tilter, from time to time, if he really hits his stride, he'll be that 9 catch for 212-yard guy and 3 touchdowns. He has that type of dynamic ability. But yeah, like I said, if he can just, for now, this season, because we have enough in place, as long as Montgomery and Gibbs are in the backfield and that offensive line is healthy, we're going to generate rushing yards. That's just a given. St. Brown is going to be the safety blanket. He's going to catch his 10, 11, 12 balls. If we can get a little bit more from Laporta, just a little bit, because right now there isn't really anybody else consistent. Josh Reynolds, he's starting to show some of his limitations I think we already knew he had going back to Tennessee and him being with the Rams. But yeah, if Jameson can be that type of difference maker in games like this is where the talent really takes over. Whether you have a big-time quarterback, a big-time receiver, a big-time edge rusher. Ayton, the game had already tilted by then, but Ayton's play sealed it.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Like I said, being in that stadium, when Jameson scored that touchdown, that felt like a dagger to Chicago. Their confidence was shot after that, offensively as well as defensively. Even though we were still down 26-21, it just felt like, yeah, these dudes are done. Bears fans were sitting around us at 26-21, looking shook as hell after that Jameson touchdown, because they knew their offense couldn't generate a long drive.
Yeah, I just I felt like after they got that touchdown, I feel like the game tilted in a major direction. I didn't think the Chicago Bears were going to come back from that, to be honest. Like, I felt like them.
It was almost heartbreaking for them, because they were just trying to hold on, and boom, dagger. Yep. And they just felt it slipping away.
I felt like Eberflus kind of overplayed his hand by going so conservative with that field goal. I felt like if he would have gone for it a first down, they could potentially get it and they could seal the game. But thank God that Eberflus is Eberflus, because that's what he's gonna do. So that Aiden Hutchinson play to end the game pretty much was just fantastic, because if you notice, Justin Fields did Aiden Hutchinson's dance after that long run that he had, and then Hutch comes back with his own. So I mean, it was like vigilante justice, man.
It was annoying watching the Bears have success offensively too, because they wasn't doing shit special at all, man. All the RPOs and the direct draws to Fields and the end around. It's like, okay, we get it. You want to establish him, and it's weird because your quarterback hasn't played in a month.
Yeah.
And the way you choose to establish him is getting him out there getting hit. Not standing in the pocket completing some easy throws or scheming up some easy throws. You throw him right back out there to get hit. Dude threw for what? How many yards? Like 126 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was. And it was getting on my nerves watching it like, come on, we're better than this team. We're allowing this high school offense to really give us problems. They don't even still want to let their quarterback throw. 3 years into the league, they still don't want to let him throw. It was frustrating as hell watching it. Like, you better than this. Come on.
It just goes back to what people were saying when Tyson Bagent was and I know you talked about this on your podcast.
6 picks.
And everything. Yeah, I feel like they don't have any confidence in Justin Fields. I think if Justin Fields was in Atlanta, he'd be pretty damn good. I feel like if he was in another situation other than the Bears, he'd be good. Them hiring Eberflus was the worst decision to develop a quarterback because he's a defensive coach. What the hell is he going to do? And the fact that they had this high school offense, like you were saying, like I felt like it was a Michigan State game because all they were doing was RPOs.
We was watching Iowa Bears.
Yeah, it's like Iowa, but it's more like
we'll kick our way to a win.
Yeah, it's more like Michigan State because like they were running the same play over and over and over again, and they thought that would win them the game. But when you get to a point in the NFL where you're going against an upper echelon team, like I do think the Lions are an upper echelon team, you can't be running the same shit. And the fact that the Detroit Lions beat themselves pretty much with the interceptions, the missed tackles, the illegal contacts, and they still come out and they still have a shot to win in the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't care what you say, they still have a shot to win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's a credit to the Lions personally, because I mean that just shows you that they didn't quit at all, even when they were having like the worst game of their whole season.
Yeah, I mean, a more capable offense would have buried us.
Yeah.
They would have buried us. The Bears just kept walking away with field goals. I'm like, okay, this is cute because we're due. Even way midway, like around the 11, 12-minute mark in the fourth, I'm like, this offense is still due for some mini eruption. And if the Bears can't get more than just a damn field goal, we're going to come back and we're going to take it from them.
I said on my page, I said, we're lucky we're playing the Chicago Bears right now, because if we were playing a team like, God, you don't even have to say upper echelon team. You could say like if we were playing the Saints or we were playing the freaking Broncos right now, they would have killed us. You give them that short of field all the time. I mean, you can't.
Even the Vikings, for that matter. The Vikings would have gotten at least 2 touchdowns out of 7 of those drives.
Oh, for sure. And I thought it was just interesting the way that they came back from the 3 interceptions. I mean, you want to talk about Jared Goff and his resolve. That's a major key to any quarterback,
Yeah. I'm not going to rag on him about it. Like I said, I just want you to win. If you make the plays for us to win, I can live with it.
I take more into it that he had his worst game, and it really didn't frazzle him. We see with Josh Allen, when he throws interceptions, he gets into this mode where he starts forcing the ball, starts making more stupid plays. Only the best quarterbacks in the league in terms of their headspace, they can come back from interceptions. Patrick Mahomes in that Jets game, he threw like 3 picks in that game. He comes back, he makes the plays to win the game, and that's what they do. You survive in advance, and in the NFL, that's all it comes back. You see with Dak Prescott too. He throws a couple interceptions, he's shook, done, over.
You see it from Geno, he's pretty much shook.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to check out this Seahawks-Ram game today, but it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the Seahawks walk themselves into that type of game. Divisional game again for them too. It's crazy how those divisional games go, though.
Well, the point spread for that game went way different. I think it was like a point. It was a point, basically. So it was a pick 'em. So anytime it's like that, you kind of go, uh-oh. Like you either pick the underdog or you're probably going to lose. And when we were coming into this game, yesterday the point spread changed from 9.5 to 7, and I was like, uh-oh.
Mhm.
What the hell happened? Who got injured? Obviously, some money came in on it, but that's insane. But I just can't believe the Jets got their ass kicked today. That's what kills me.
Yeah, you looking at Josh Allen, man. The last game he had, um, let's be honest about it. He led the drive that got them the lead,
Yeah.
and he ran it in for the touchdown. If the defense gets to stop, we're talking about no 26-yard pass interference call on Johnson. We're talking about no 12 men on the field. Are people still killing Josh Allen?
No. But it's again, it goes back to coaching. You know what I'm saying? We talk about it in this league all the time. Like, you win with your coaching decisions, or you lose with your coaching decisions. And you look at Dan Campbell. Like, that team was that Lions team wasn't frazzled at all. They weren't frazzled.
Right.
And
Young
if you get a team like, let's say you get like the Chargers, when they get up, they're like kind of frazzled a little bit. You see them with the Bears, like they were not playing the way that they should have with the lead. I mean, a lot of these coaching decisions in the NFL are just it's kind of madness, to be honest. Like, I can't even believe that some of these guys are pro coaches. Like, if we're gonna be honest, like, these coaches in the NFL right now are absolutely awful. Like, it's just, you got
game management, man.
You got players calling a players only meeting in New York, and they get housed today by Buffalo. Like, jeez, like, whew. Like, people talk about the Lions and they say like all the culture. Well, in places like Philly, Detroit, San Francisco, Kansas City, you're not hearing that. You're not hearing it in Houston either with D'Amico Ryans, who's done a fantastic job in Houston. That's what good coaches do. Good coaches, they get their team ready to go, even though they're having their worst game. And that's the way that game that they should have won, the Buffalo Bills should have won last week against the Broncos. Man, you lose that game, that's a tough loss. But if you're the Bills, I mean, the division's still there. So
yeah, I mean, the Raiders came away with not the Raiders, but the Dolphins came away with a pretty significant win today against the Raiders. The Raiders were game. They've been game the past few weeks ever since they let McDaniels out of the back door.
It's a party
Run
over
in
there.
Pierce. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna just say this about Detroit, man. The youth still scares me over the long run against a team like Philadelphia, a team like Frisco. But who knows, man? Sometimes in the NFL with football, if you got the right coaching staff in place, you got a solid quarterback, whether he's an elite talent guy or whatnot, or he's a solid placeholder, or he's really the guy. As long as you have that guy in place and you have the coaching and you have a disciplined young team. Now, they weren't disciplined at all today. And I said prior to the game, even yesterday, that the only way the Bears win this game or have a chance to win this game in the end is if we beat ourselves. Turnovers, goofy turnovers, that is, penalties, and just playing completely down to the Bears level. Now, the Bears kind of came in and made it the type of game we typically wanted to be. We're gonna play you at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. We're gonna run the ball very well. We're gonna throw it at you, and throw if we have to. Problem is the Bears couldn't throw at all.
Yeah,
that's the problem right there. And they thought that the field goals would be enough. It felt like they kept scoring, but it was only field goals. It was a really weird feeling. Like, okay, another Bears possession ends in a field goal. Another Bears possession ends in a field goal. We're still in this shit. Yeah, all it takes is one play, and then we're completely right back in this. And yeah, the Bears gave it away. They gave it away. I know the Packers and Vikings are real pissed right now, but they gave it away. And I think that Packer game, man, everybody should be good and healthy, I think. They come across as the type of coaching staff that wants to put on a good, solid show for the hometown team and the crowd as well. It's going to be Thanksgiving. The Packers don't seem to match up very well against us, let alone with Jordan Love. Love is going to throw us one or two. He's going to throw us one or two, and I think the fans are going to get what they want to see. The national media, the national fan base, they're going to want to see Jameson Williams. We want to see Donovan Peoples-Jones. Didn't get anything out of him today. I would like to see him get a couple catches or whatnot, a couple targets, but I'm excited for this because, and I agree with you 1,000%. they got, whether the dud was against the Chargers or the dud happened today, I'm glad that the dud got out of the way before the Green Bay game, because they're not going to play like this shit back to back in a
No,
4-day difference. They're
no.
going to look like a completely different team on Thursday, and I think it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be real fun.
I'm glad they got the dud out of the way, especially with New Orleans coming up. You got Denver coming up. Like, I feel like those are more formidable teams than the Chicago Bears. But I told you in the last show that I feel like the Chicago Bears can challenge us a little bit. I didn't think it'd be at home, but it just came today, and obviously, you didn't play your best game at all, and you come away with the W. I mean, how many times can you say that you come away with the W after a game like that? Not often, man.
Yeah, that many turnovers, penalties, losing the time of possession or whatnot, but it came down to making plays. I think from time to time you can go through any NFL Sunday, comb through the box scores and see situations like that where teams lost the turnover margin, they got outrushed, or they got outpassed, or they lost the gross yards from scrimmage or whatever it may be. They made 1, 2, 3 plays that changed the game. And it was weird because the Bears kind of controlled the game, but they didn't control the game because they didn't make the winning plays. They just sustained drive. They survived. They just kicked a bunch of field goals and survived, and we made the winning plays.
So listen to this, Walt. Since 1932, no NFL team with a +3 turnover margin and a 40-minute time of possession has ever lost that game. Teams were 48-0 until the Bears lost today. That's a historic, that you would think that would be the Lions case, same old Lions. That's the moniker. But man, to lose like that, it's embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing.
So does that point to the fact that they haven't had a quarterback ever?
Probably.
I think that stat kind of points to the fact that they've been having the K. McNowns of the world and the Millers out there and the retreads and Jason Campbells and Jeff Blakes and like a bunch of names, just a bunch of names rotating in and out. I mean, Cutler's probably the best they've had.
Best one, yeah.
Since I've been alive.
Yeah, I think Jay Cutler is the best one.
Grossman got him to a Super Bowl, though. He was so hot and cold. But whenever he got hot to Bernard Berrien, it was a problem. Whenever he started finding Bernard Berrien deep,
I can't believe
you had a problem.
A Super Bowl, bro. Like, I mean, not win a Super Bowl. They lost the Super Bowl, but I can't believe they even got to a Super Bowl, to be honest. I mean, like, during that time, you had the Eagles with Brian Dawkins and McNabb and everything. You had the Packers with Favre and all that stuff, and they just, I don't know how that defense was just so damn good. That's the critical thing there. You can win with a crappy quarterback in this league if you have a great defense, and it scares the hell out of me that the Chiefs have a top 10 defense right now because they don't freaking need it, dude.
What do you think about the Browns? Keep on winning.
I can't believe I gotta tell you this. I cannot believe they won today. And
I can. It's the Steelers with another divisional game. We've been saying this for the longest, man. Those divisional games can go either way.
I'll just tell you like this: like the Steelers, they don't lose those games typically, but the Browns just have their number the past 2 games, and that Browns defense is so damn good. Imagine if they had a quarterback.
Haven't they beaten everybody in the division now once?
Yeah, they have. They didn't beat the Ravens. Oh yeah, they beat the Ravens. Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So
they beat the Bengals at the beginning of the season, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they beat the Steelers today, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It'd be funny if they go ahead and win that division with Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Well, I always liked the Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I coming out of UCLA.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that they're starting him instead of PJ Walker, but
why not?
But Boomer Esiason said something really, really smart, and I gotta give him credit there. Is he says, like, if you have a veteran backup and they turn the ball over, why not go to a rookie? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, PJ provides no upside whatsoever. We were discussing it on the East West show this morning. It kills me how the backup job always has to go to the vet.
Yeah.
That's what really kills me. Why does that job have to always go to the vet? Maybe the rookie, maybe the undrafted free agent, maybe the 24-year-old guy who has more physical upside provides you more of an opportunity to win because PJ was out there throwing some dumb footballs too.
Yeah.
Now Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he can get out and run. He reminds me a little bit of Jaden Daniels, but he can get out and he can run for damn sure. He has a stronger arm than PJ. He's more accurate than PJ. And I mean, you got a solid veteran defense in place. You can run the football. You believe in your coaching staff. Why not throw Dorian out there? See what you got. They may end up in a situation where Deshaun may be done.
That's
like
true.
if this team goes on a run and Dorian Thompson plays really well, these contracts aren't worth the paper they're written on. People always see contracts and say, well, how are they going to get out of this? And how are they going to get out of that? Billionaires have a way of getting out of stuff when they don't want to see you anymore.
If you got a good cap guy, usually you can get out of things. Like I always tell people, like the cap is just it's a number in the NFL. Because you don't, how did the 49ers get Javon Hargrave? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did they find the money to pay these guys? And you just look at it and you go, if you have a good cap guy, most of the time, you're going to come out on the good side of it because you kind of have to stack these contracts up like it's scientific, you know?
Yeah, buddy, man. NFL Network showing highlights of the game. So, yeah. Oh, boy. It was fun being down there, man. Darcy, want to thank you 100%, man. 100%. It was so much fun down there today. Hopefully, we all can get together for another game before the season is over with. Maybe it's a playoff game.
Yeah, that'd
against
be
Dallas.
Oh, oof.
Thank you. Thank you
that's
so
what
much.
I want to see. That's what I want to see, man. What? Let's be honest. One last question. What do you guys want to see in the first round? Our first opponent.
Dallas would be nice.
Dallas here.
I don't want
realistic. Oh shit!
I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that Minnesota Vikings lucky horse.
Yeah, I don't. It's too nerve-wracking playing a divisional opponent in the playoffs. Like it'll mess around and look like a game we played today against the Bears, messing around with the Vikings.
Exactly
like I don't. Give me something more exciting. Give me some Dallas, bro. Give me some Falcon, maybe. Like I don't. No, I do not want to see a matchup with Minnesota. I don't want to watch that.
No.
So to answer the question, damn, what was the question again?
What's your dream matchup? Who would you rather see in the wild card if we did end up in the wild card or whatnot?
Oh, that's easy. That's an easy question. So come tomorrow when the Kansas City Chiefs beat those Philadelphia Eagles, we are going to be in first place. I'd like a bye. If we get a bye, and then we play Seattle again for a rematch, I do believe we could beat the Seattle Seahawks. Do you see the Rams coming up? No?
Not to finish second in that division. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't see it.
Seattle been shaky too.
So, to answer that question, will we play Dallas at home? Because the last time Dallas came here, we beat them. No? Yes?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute since they've been here. Yeah.
Wasn't that the Calvin 300-yard game?
I think they came here during Matt Patricia's era too.
Yeah, so and they beat us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want the Dallas Cowboys in here. I mean, I would want Dallas Cowboys in here, but would I like Minnesota? No. Would I like Seattle? No. So I guess Dallas is the only way to go, to be honest. Unless you get one of those teams from the South, then that'd be great. I'd love that. Yeah.
Right.
So the only way we would play them is if they win a first round matchup against.
Can you imagine if they beat the Cowboys? Oh yes, let's go, man. Let's go.
Did today feel like a weird ass playoff game though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The whole day did. I mean, some of the games today just felt like playoff games. Like it was like watching some of these games. I mean, they were tight. They were long point spreads, but they still came out there and just some of those teams were just like, I don't know, man. There was some of these games today that just had no feeling on it at all.
Poor Chargers.
Brandon
if
Staley.
The team looked like they quit. They quit. Defensively, they look like they quit today. Like Green Bay just couldn't score enough to really embarrass them. But the pass rush looked like it quit. The secondary looked like it quit.
Joey Bosa got hurt.
Yeah.
They said he might have a broken ankle, so something like that. Sucks because the Chargers are a really good team and they need a good coach. So that's we talked about it earlier today. They need a good coach. They just do. They don't have a coach right now, but they literally don't. So if I was a Chargers fan, I'd be really pissed off because we're wasting years of Herbert, kind of like we did with Stafford. So
yeah. Quentin Johnston had a terrible drop today too.
Worst drop ever. In his hands, man. In his hands. You can't get any more in his hands, man.
After Herbert made the play.
That was just a brutal, brutal drop that you can't even fathom.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up, man.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Like I said, we got Vikings and Broncos tonight. I'm pretty sure all three of us are gonna watch that. Darcy, you got a bedtime, don't you?
Yeah, Darcy's got a.
No. This is my Friday night. This is my Saturday night, actually, because I have Sunday, Mondays off. So I want to say I'm just going to give. It's hard to produce and host, so I thought these guys did a wonderful job tonight. Thank you so much, Walter. I appreciate you, Ashanti. Everybody that's been on the show, Mark Oram. Thank you. This is a great platform. If you could subscribe to the Detroit Lions news show on YouTube, it'd be greatly appreciated. It's just jumped up many more. I know Walt and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you saying, Darcy?
What am I saying? The saying is, I love you, and I was like going like this. I was going like this all through the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
man. It was fun. You need those types of games, man. It was last week was a tease because you were scoring so many points. This shit wasn't fun today.
No.
This was nerve wracking because, like I said, watching the Bears have that type of success with that elementary ass offense for 3 quarters was so frustrating, man. It's like you guys really can't figure this out. Figure it out. Please figure it out. Then you had the obnoxious Bears fans there. They were okay. But they were talking so much shit at the 10-minute mark, telling Lions fans to go home. They started coming out of the woodworks high-fiving each other. It was sickening.
Man, Bears fans annoy the shit out of me. I don't know what it is. That city itself annoys the shit out of me. And the fact that
they're pretty similar to Detroit though.
Nah,
they don't bother me as much as Packers and Vikings fans though.
See, I'm not bothered by Packers or Vikings fans. Number one, I got a Vikings homer on my page. He loves to talk shit about the Lions.
Who's that?
Matt's. He loves to talk crap. He always says, "Oh, it's a lucky win, a lucky win," and then sometimes I have to check his ass because that's how it is with us Lions fans. So, and I can check the Packer fans, but these Bears fans, man, I hate the Bulls. I hate the Blackhawks. I hate the Bears. Screw the Cubs, those losers. Screw the White Sox.
Hey,
the White Sox are the villains of Chicago now.
Listen.
My
wife's cousin is a Hall of Famer for the Cubs, so whatever.
Chris Bryant?
Fergie Jenkins.
Yeah.
They lose all the time, so
Say they lose all the time.
Screw them. And their stupid ass stadium and their stupid ass fans and their stupid ass W flag. Yeah, fly that W now that you're rebuilding.
Hey man, we got 3 good games. Well, I don't know about that Cowboy Commander game on Thursday, but 49ers Seahawks.
Let's not finish the show. Let's talk about the surprises and everything you thought. Dallas Cowboys won, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the biggest? Why is the Commanders so shitty? Like, Commanders are worse than Bears. I fear the Bears more than the Commanders. If the Commanders came in here in Ford Field and played us like they did today,
they traded the best players on their defense for the most part.
Yep.
The offensive line sucks.
Yep.
They
So
can't
what?
generate any legitimate running game.
Yep.
For whatever reason, Sam Howell, he figures he has to play super aggressive all the time. And I like this about Howell.
Yeah.
He's aggressive with the football downfield, but right now he feels like, not to say he has too much command over the offense, but some of the plays he's making just feels like, dude, just rein it in, calm down, play for another play. And he's trying to do too much right now, which is making him look bad on a week-to-week basis. And I'm rooting for Howell. I want to see Howell have 3 straight games great, really good or whatever, but you can't because he's so damn inconsistent.
Yep.
And he's inconsistent also because this is really his rookie year. You know, he came into the league a year ago, but he's set for what, until they threw him in the final 2 games of last season, I believe.
Yeah.
2 or 3 games. So this is essentially his rookie season, whether people want to admit it or not. And dudes are regressed over there too. Jahan Dotson isn't playing as good as they thought he was going to play coming out of Penn State. Samuel's been in and out the lineup. The offensive line has been bad. It's bad in Washington right now. I can kind of understand why they're getting rid of guys and trying to stockpile picks as well, because they got too many holes, man. And then you trade your 2 best edge rushers.
Yeah, it's just a crappy situation in Washington. And
Yeah.
like I just don't understand what their logic is behind everything that they're doing.
Who's the football people?
Well, you trade your 2 different people. You trade your 2 best defensive players away. I think you could have signed one of them. Your defense allowed Tommy DeVito to be a freaking Peyton Manning back there. So I mean, if there's anything that you have to look at, like, that should be ridiculous. Like, there's under no circumstances should that ever be the case.
Coach gone? And
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
and it's funny. I was thinking about this earlier because if the coach is gone, no, not you. Is Riverboat Darcy, huh?
Riverboat Darcy.
If Rivera's gone and they bring in a brand new head coach, there's a good chance that guy is going to want his own offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Because just knowing personality wise with Bieniemy,
Mm-hmm.
how often do new head coaches come into a situation and keep the OC that's already there, let alone the OC with his type of personality? And I think there's a good chance he was probably promised the head coaching job if Rivera didn't work out. So, because he could have, if that's the case, he could have just stayed in Kansas City. So, is it creating a really rough, uneasy situation where you fire Rivera and then you go pass over Bieniemy and bring in a head coach from outside? I think they got a lot of weird stuff going on in Washington right now, and I agree with Joe. I can't really pinpoint what direction they're going in. Like, are you stockpiling picks to build a solid team around Howell? Are you stockpiling picks to potentially trade up to get somebody to replace Howell and then throw them into the fire in a shitty situation?
Yep.
Because you done traded all these picks up to get a guy like Drake May or Caleb Williams or whoever, but now that guy's walking into the same shitty situation that you couldn't help out Sam Howell in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. Washington's really weird right now. That's why I asked you, Joe, like, who's the football people over there? Snyder's gone. Didn't Magic Johnson become partial owner of the team or something? So I don't know who's the real football people. Fox, is John Fox still there? Because they were complaining about John Fox for the longest.
I think John Fox is on our staff.
No, not John Fox. What's the name? The guy, Jack Del Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're doing in Washington. I like I said, I don't understand some of the things that they're doing. And if you're a Lions fan, this kind of brings you back to this point: is your organization is finally on track. They are on the same page as everyone else. When you have an organization like the Washington Commanders, where they have no one, like, who is their general? We can't even name their general manager. Me and Walt are going, who is their general manager? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. Like, if you have
Walmart.
They go on a save like in those
Family Dollar.
Yeah, they get those $5, run a player kind of things. But the Commanders are weird. The Giants are weird because it seems like every pick that they make, if it's not good, it's awful. Like, they can't just be like decent. It's like, oh, we drafted Evan Neal, sucks. We drafted
Deontay Banks has been decent.
Yeah, Deontay Banks has been decent, but then they got, they got so many guys that you're like, what the
Thibodeau.
hell? Yeah, like Thibodeau is another guy. Like, he needs it. He needs extra gear. That's what he needs. I feel like he could be a really good player if he had like Hutch's gear. To be honest, there's some plays where he just quits on it. We were like, "What the hell is going on, dude?" Like, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed this, but Robert Saleh came out in the press conference. We were on the obviously the show, and he says he doesn't know who's going to start Friday. So,
I never understood the Zach Wilson hype, man. I was called all types of player haters.
But do you know who their backup is?
No, who's the backup?
Oh, this is gonna be great. It's Tim Boyle.
Good for them. Good for them.
Well, it's like good for them. They got TB12, baby. I don't think he's TB12 over there though. I think he's TB7 or something like that. But what a great game it was.
How bad does it have to be to say, well, we got Zach and Tim. Ooh, it's gonna be a tight one this week.
Shit. And we're going up against the Dolphins that could score a bajillion points. How about that? That's just the way it goes.
Tim Boyle gives us a better chance than Zach. Like, why does Zach still look so lost? Like, it's 3 years, bro. Like, we're going on 3 years within this offense, and the offense isn't that damn complex. If you look at some of the reads that he has within that offense, they've dumbed it down enough for you, bro. Like, they've done all they can. It's like the misses he has, and just going back to the All-22 for people who do get a chance to see some NFL All-22. I see with him a lot of the issues that old boy had with Frisco that they traded to Dallas, Trey Lance.
Yeah.
You can't afford to be late on throws in the NFL consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Completions are too hard to come by. When you see that throw, you need to make it. And it's like with him, he can't find any real in between. He's either too late or he's too late. Which means either balls are getting tipped up in the air for interceptions because you're extra late, or you're late and you throwing a straight pick. Like, guys, Garrett Wilson receivers are where they need to be. Now, do I think they need another consistent threat? I think they do need another offensive consistent threat. I think the offensive line needs to be much better. But, man, like, how bad do you have to be so it gets to the point where they're talking about bringing in Boyle?
It's got to be pretty freaking bad, That's like that's.
I mean, what's
worst.
next for Zach? If Zach has to be done with the Jets
after that,
because you can't even bring him back as a backup next season.
After that statement, yeah, I don't know how you bring him back. I don't know how Zach Wilson wants to come back.
Yeah, it's 3 years, man. 3 years within an offense and shit. Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones is having issues for a variety of other reasons, but it's rough to play quarterback, man. It's tough. You can have all the physical gifts in the world, but if you don't have it together upstairs, it's gonna be a big problem.
I'm just glad that the Lions got their quarterback. That's all I care about. Because you look at the quarterbacks around the league, and most of them do suck.
What the hell do you mean Lions have a quarterback? Joe,
you don't believe they have a quarterback, Darcy?
Okay,
I think they got two potentially.
No. We need to talk. Joe and I need to talk about this.
What do you want now?
What do I want now? I was just, what the hell? You throw 3 interceptions, dude.
So let me get this straight. So,
what did he do the final two? What did he do the final 2 drives? Don't force me to defend this man, because I will sit here and defend this man. What did he do the last 2 drives, Darcy?
Okay.
Did we win the game or not?
He came back and won the game. That's all that matters. All that matters. Now, if you want to talk about he was kind of careless with the ball, I agree with that.
This game was few and far between.
But this game was weird. That was just a weird game. And he threw 3 interceptions. He was coming in this game with a perfect passer rating against the Bears. No interceptions, 8 touchdowns. So obviously something got off the rail. So look, it's a bad game. Every quarterback has it.
Okay.
What?
I said okay.
Every quarterback has a bad game. Patrick Mahomes had a bad game against the Jets and they still won. So look, I don't give a crap. As long as you win. Period. Now, if this becomes a trend, okay, maybe I'll come to your side. Maybe. But
come to my side?
Yeah. Yeah, I
This
know
is
you
the
love-
worst performance you've seen out of him since probably that New England game a
We've
year
seen
ago.
this constantly.
Constantly? Where's the constantly at?
When?
Where's the constantly? He didn't perform this bad against Baltimore. He was bad today.
So, right about this time, we had Matt Derry on, and he was constantly throwing pick sixes to the other team. No? Yes?
Yeah.
When have you seen Jared Goff been that franchise quarterback that you want to pay $45 million to? Joe, are you going to pay? Are you going to pay this man? Are you going to pay this man?
Absolutely.
Or, pardon me?
If he leads you somewhere, you have no choice.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. If he gets us to the playoffs and wins and does something nobody else has been able to do since 1991, and he performs well all season, how do you not pay him?
See, here's
how do you disrupt that? Honestly,
no, because we.
If you feel that strongly about Hooker,
no. Because we spent a third round pick on our quarterback.
No, they didn't.
We didn't spend a first.
Can you stop this? Can you, all you people, stop it with the Hendon Hooker crap, okay? Hendon Hooker is going to be a freaking backup. He's not going to be a starter. He will be a backup, not a starter. Backup.
You know what? I think they honestly, just being 100% transparent about it, I think they drafted him to replace Goff, but I believe they didn't anticipate Goff. They did it just in case Goff stumbles this season. They didn't anticipate Goff performing this well. This is a bonus. This is a bonus. I think they drafted him with the intentions to eventually replace Goff. But if Goff keeps performing well, you really can't snatch him out of that lineup. No. You can't, especially if he wins.
If he wins the division and they win a playoff game, you're not going to another quarterback. You're just not.
No,
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people look at this whole crap like, oh, we'll just go to Hendon Hooker. Okay, I'm pretty sure that there's been Texan quarterbacks that they've gone to that they thought was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, guys. And guess what? They sucked ass. Now here's another thing. You can always upgrade from the quarterback, but you know how hard it is to upgrade from a quarterback to downgrade from a quarterback? Do you see how many bad quarterbacks are in this league? If there wasn't so many bad quarterbacks in this league, do you think that we wouldn't have Daniel Jones starting, or we wouldn't have go with it, Zach Wilson starting for the Jets right now? I know that's an injury, but still, it's the same thing.
Well, I don't know. If you go back to like our day, like the early 90s or whatnot, there was a lot of bad quarterbacks starting in the NFL during that time.
Here we go again. Now, William, I'm going to tell you this right now. I've told everybody that I've been on this show. This guy, Hendon Hooker, is Oppo Goff. He will throw the greatest deep throws ever. Greatest throws ever. But when it's those short passes, he struggles like hell. I know because I watch Tennessee. Okay, so if you watch a lot of Tennessee football, you can come talk to me and tell me that I'm wrong.
I'm gonna say this, man, and I apply this to Hendon Hooker as I do any other young quarterback coming out of college. We saw what he was able to do once he left Virginia Tech and went to a better program, a better quarterback-friendly offense. He had better receivers around him. He had solid offensive line play, and he was on his way to winning the Heisman Trophy possibly.
Yep.
The one thing we have to be very leery of is like labeling these kids as finished, and he can't get any better. I use Anthony Richardson as a main comparison to that. People had stereotypes about Anthony Richardson. He wasn't smart. He had one of the highest scores in the Wonder League when he went there. They were shocked for whatever reason. People were shocked at how well he was able to break down defenses and diagnose schemes and do this and do that. And when he got to the league, before he got hurt, because before he got hurt, he was looking at like the LeBron James of the NFL out there damn near. He was running around, gaming, doing all types of stuff, changing, calling audibles on the fly. He was doing everything they wanted him to do. So do we see a lot of guys get to the league and just never get better? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But sometimes you'll be shocked at some of these guys that get to the NFL and reach another level. There were a ton of questions about C.J. Stroud coming out.
Yep.
Good questions about him. But one thing you can't measure is what these kids have inside of them. How
Yeah.
much fight they have inside of them. CJ looks like the guy now.
Yeah,
He looks like the guy.
You're right, Walt. They can get better, obviously, with the good coaching and everything. But my only point to that, and I tell people this all the time, like if you are gonna go out there and you're gonna go and trade in your quarterback, right? I could see if you have David Carr or Derek Carr, whatever the hell his name is, one of the stupid cards. I could see if you have Daniel Jones, okay? I could see if you have Zach Wilson as your starter right now. I could see if you have Stafford right now as their starter because he's not going to be around long. But it's so easy to get worse at the quarterback position than better. And if everyone was getting better at the quarterback position, half this league wouldn't have horrible quarterbacks. Now you are in the upper echelon of the league in terms of quarterbacks because I can tell you right now, Jared Goff is playing like a top 10 quarterback. So unless you think that Hendon Hooker is a top 10 quarterback, why would you bring him into this situation? I mean, there's a shot.
The only way is if you feel like they see him at practice every day. They've watched every single snap he's taken in college, probably watched every single snap he took in high school. So they know exactly what they're getting. It comes down to whether or not how strongly they feel about him. I think at the end of the day, go back to the most convenient example, Andy Reid. They finished 11-5 before they moved up and drafted Patrick Mahomes. Alex Smith was doing nothing wrong.
Yep.
But your boy felt like he couldn't win big with Alex Smith. Now, who knows? I mean, Hooker throws a better deep ball. He's more mobile. I think they could open up the playbook with him a little bit more offensively with him. But, you're right. I mean, it's hard how often do you see teams get rid of winning quarterbacks? Especially in this situation.
Not often. And usually if they do get rid of them, I mean, like, look at the San Francisco 49ers. They thought they were getting an upgrade with Trey Lance and over Jimmy Garoppolo. And Trey Lance is a backup quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys right now. So, and everyone wants to bring up the Patrick Mahomes or the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Guys, those are anomalies. Those are total anomalies.
Those are completely different situations, too. Like, Favre was holding Green Bay by the balls, too. So Aaron fell right to them. In that situation, And
those were first round picks too. People could say, "Oh, well, Hendon Hooker had a first round grade on him." Okay, that's fine, but still, he's a lot older than a regular rookie quarterback. So that's number one.
You want to get him on the field more sooner than later.
Yeah. So if you're gonna say that Hendon Hooker is the future, like there's a couple things you got to look at in terms of how does it look to these teams. To your team, if you get rid of Jared Goff, that's number one, and number two is how does it look to the rest of the league that you get rid of Jared Goff for a guy like Hendon Hooker? I mean, if you got rid of Jared Goff tomorrow, there'd be a line of teams trying to sign him. Period.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to how much do you trust your GM and your head coach. I mean, it's a risk. It's a really high risk because when I talked to Kansas City Chiefs fans back during that time when they moved on for Alex Smith, and at least at the point in time in that time frame where they drafted Mahomes, huge part of that Chiefs fan base was not happy.
Right.
Mahomes, he was viewed as a project. He had a big arm, but he was reckless. He played in that gadgety offense at Texas Tech. He's this, he's that. We don't know whether he's committed to football. He played baseball. We heard a ton of things about him. It worked out for him.
Yep.
It's going to be times where you have to, as a GM, take that big swing.
Yeah.
Whether you consider the big swing to be him or even Anthony Richardson. Prior to the draft, me and Ashanti had discussions about this team potentially moving up, drafting Stroud. How would you feel about that as a Lions fan? How would you feel if they rolled the dice and moved up and took an Anthony Richardson? I was okay with either of it because I looking at it from Brad Holmes' perspective. Trading up and swinging for the fences with the Anthony Richardson and the upside he has just would let me know, okay, this man he has bigger plans for us. He feels like this guy can be that home run player, that the icon of this city. Like he would have fit this city perfectly too.
Yep. I feel like if you're gonna go out and make that kind of move, it has to be a first round pick.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has to, because the hit rate for quarterbacks that are in like the second, third, fourth, fifth round, people can bring up Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That's an anomaly. That's Tom Brady's an anomaly. Okay, Dak Prescott is an anomaly, and we don't even have a high grade on Dak Prescott right now. So all I'm saying is, if you have a quarterback, there is no way, no how, especially when Brad Holmes has said he's confident in Jared Goff. That's number one. I mean, there's no way that you're coming and saying to your team, "Oh, we're going to go to a rookie quarterback because it's going to be his rookie year when he starts, and then we're
Right.
going to start this thing over." Your timing in the league where you have players that are going to be due for contracts, doesn't match up.
Well, I mean, they can't do it. I mean, the only way they can rationally do it is if Golf falls off a map. Like if Golf suffers some terrible injury and Hooker comes in and the rest is history. Hooker leads us on a playoff run.
Right.
That's the easy way to do it. That's the way I think most franchise embark it happening. Oh, we can't pull the guy for winning. So what the hell are we gonna do? How do we get this rookie on the field? The old guy keeps winning. Well, he'll eventually get hurt. Like typically, look around the league. Isn't that normally what happens?
Yep.
Whenever a team drafts a quarterback, the very next season, the placeholder, the gatekeeper, however you want to put it, he normally gets hurt at some point in time, or he performs poorly.
Yep.
This guy didn't do neither one. So the only way they're going to actually pull Golf is if he either bottom falls out, he has an awful wild card round performance, or he has an awful final 3 weeks of the season, performs poorly at Minnesota, poorly against the Cowboys, average again against Minnesota last game of the season and whatnot. Unless he just completely lets us down, they have no reason to really move on from him. It's going to be a hard sell to just come out as a Lions fan. Yep, Hooker's our starter next season. It's like, damn, like didn't Golf just lead you guys to a playoff victory or whatnot? And it's going to look real strange, but
it sends a bad precedent too, because like I remember when Rob Brendamore was on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and he told them that when the Philadelphia Flyers were rolling, and they traded a bunch of players away, and they kind of changed the roster. He said that's when we knew we weren't going to win. Like we just weren't going to win. And sometimes if you do something like that, where you go off and you say we're going to trade for, we're going to have Hendon Hooker be the starter. Well, it could tell your team the wrong thing. Like your team could be like, oh well, I guess we're not winning because we're going with a rookie quarterback. That's just some of the things that you have to do. I mean, Alex Smith. The one thing about Mahomes and Alex Smith, Alex Smith was getting a little bit older. I mean, that's where I kind of see that his balls, his deep balls and his medium range balls, they were falling off too. So it wasn't the same quarterback that he was. So I can see why they brought Mahomes in. It's the same thing with all these guys. They say like, oh, we're gonna bring this guy in. With Anthony Richardson, he was gonna be a good quarterback. I felt like he was gonna be a good quarterback. I felt CJ Stroud was gonna be a good quarterback, and I felt like if the Lions were gonna make a change at quarterback, those were the two guys that you would take the chance at. I liked CJ Stroud. I don't care what any Michigan fan said. He was a damn good quarterback, and I seen it against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, how can I put this, man? Like I said, it's you can't move on from him. Point blank, you just can't move on from him unless he performs poorly. I don't think they're hoping and praying that he performs poorly because so they can have an excuse to go on to Hooker. But I agree. I think if they would have taken the guy in the first round, there'll be a little bit more pressure. Maybe in the second round, but Hooker being the third round pick, you're looking at the age right there. Being the age he's at right now, you're gonna have to, if you're going to find out what you have in Hendon Hooker, you got to get him on the field immediately. Next season, not year 3 when you're talking about him being 27 maybe or whatnot. But if we're talking about what's best, I would think financially for this team, what's best for this team long run would be Hooker takes over next season, turns out to be the guy. Then you got a cheap ass Hendon Hooker for a few years. You can buy some more free agents. You don't have to burn another pick on a quarterback or whatnot. And you can completely build this roster to a point that regardless of how some people may feel about Hendon Hooker, even Hendon Hooker can survive within this offense.
Yeah.
Because like even though a lot of us don't feel like Dan Campbell's going to leave for Texas A&M, the fact is the more this man wins, the more people are going to come calling.
Yep.
That's just how it is. This man wins 13 games this season and wins a playoff game. You think it's just going to be Texas A&M calling?
Absolutely
Michigan may call.
Right. No, I agree with that. I just think that I think if you're Dan Campbell, if you're Brad Holmes,
Buffalo.
yeah, I think if you're Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell, you have a sustainable product right now, and you're not going to kind of change it for.
Oh no, I
I'm
doubt
saying?
if Dan would leave. I
No.
doubt it. But you know, that culture word is real huge in football right now. And there's a lot of teams, you mentioned them a few minutes ago around the league, that need culture changes.
Yep.
And people are looking at Dan Campbell and they laughed at him in the very beginning. Now they're looking at us like, damn, this dude was serious. Like he has something real being built.
Yep.
Shit, let's get us some Campbell over here with the Chargers.
Everyone's going to be trying to go down that road, but I think it starts with the GM, Brad Holmes.
Yeah.
I think it starts with the coach, obviously. And then when you look at those two and you pair them up, that's a great combination. A lot of franchises, they fall apart because they don't have the GM, coach, and everything. That's what happens with these teams. So I don't know, man. It's interesting. This Hendon Hooker talk though, it's funny because like if we get to a point where Hendon Hooker isn't playing, I mean Jared Goff isn't playing good, then you could say maybe you want to see Hendon Hooker next year. But at this point,
because it ain't Teddy for damn sure.
There's no reason to. I always go back to it all the time. It's easier to get worse at quarterback than it is to get better. And if you think you can get better, well, to go ahead. There's a lot of teams that thought they were getting better, and they ended up getting worse at the quarterback position. So you look at the chances. We love John Lynch as a general manager, and look what he did with the Trey Lance and the Jimmy Garoppolo garbage.
Yeah, I think part of the reason they also moved on from Jimmy was the fact that Jimmy could never stay healthy.
Yeah, well,
same issue he having with the Raiders right there. Jimmy didn't perform bad, but as usual, same thing we see with Brock Purdy this season. Whenever they went through their little streaks of injuries, when Jimmy was there, and all they did was ask Jimmy to do just a little bit more. Jimmy was incapable of doing just a little bit more without turning the ball over.
Oh yeah, I totally.
And when that wasn't going on, Jimmy was hurt. So they had to move on from him. But you and I discussed this before. They complete that throw to Emmanuel Sanders. The perception of Jimmy Garoppolo may be completely different right now.
Oh yeah,
because he won one potentially over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I just felt like that Jimmy Garoppolo thing was more attitude more than anything. I just think that like when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo's attitude, sometimes it's kind of like arrogant. So I think that's something that you look at. But with see, here's the thing: we talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, we talk about Jared Goff. Like the one thing about that separates the two of them is when Jimmy Garoppolo gets rattled, he's done. When Jared Goff gets rattled, he's kind of like, all right, well, I'll go in on the next one. Like, look, that I value that really high on a quarterback if they can come back after making some horrible plays and making it happen. So that's what I look at. But
yeah, I think Jared has completely surpassed what a lot of people had envisioned for him leaving the Rams. We can look around the NFC. There's a lot of teams in the NFC that would probably be better off and would rather have Jared Goff as their starting quarterback right now.
Yep.
As much as everybody in Frisco says they love Purdy, that team is better with Jared Goff.
Oh, for sure.
Within that system, that team is better with Jared Goff.
That's
hands down, man.
That's why I say
put Jared on Atlanta right now.
That's why I say if you have. I always do this. I always tell people this. If you cut your quarterback tomorrow, how many teams are going to come calling? And I would say a lot of the NFC would come calling. To be honest, I think. I think even the Seahawks would come calling because I think they look at Geno Smith's age and they go, "Okay, this is not going to last forever. Let's go get him. He can match this offense." Kenneth Walker as his running back. DK Metcalf.
He got hurt today. Kenneth always hurt.
Yeah, Kenneth. He can't stay healthy, but. It just goes to show you, like if you got rid of your quarterback today, how many teams come calling? If it was Daniel Jones, I mean, there's probably going to be two.
Yeah, I mean, he's an upgrade in Washington, even though I still believe Sam Howell has a legit shot.
But Sam Howell's going to end up hurt, dude. Like he's getting hit way too much as a quarterback to
a small one at that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get hurt. Like the whole David Carr in Houston when he got sacked like 101 times or something like that. They had a sack record. Man, that crushed his career because like then you're always getting the pocket and you're always thinking, oh, I got to throw this ball before I get hit. That's how it is. So,
Hey, Burrow's been hit more than Andrew Luck in the same amount of games, which I never thought anybody would surpass the amount of quarterback hits that Andrew Luck embarked on. But I think the Bengals need to start getting concerned about him.
Joe Burrow needs that. Cincinnati needs to look at the offensive line. They need to really put some draft capital into the offensive line, and they can't miss. That's number one thing. I mean, even with the Chiefs going kind of like the save a lot route with
Jawan Taylor and
Jawan Taylor and who was the other one?
They're still solid as hell on the interior though.
Yeah, I mean they're solid on the interior, but the outside they're like, okay, we can kind of get around this if we have to. With like we're not, and then you got like Cincinnati, like they're just Burrow's getting hit all the time, so it's just not good.
Yeah, I mean the Bengals got some questions, man. That team could look differently next season. Being honest about it, Boyd could be gone. He's going to get some offers. Higgins is gone.
Yep.
So I think the Bengals are in a situation where that high-flying offensive air raid out team they were Burrow's first few years in the league, they may be transitioning to a more traditional offense, man. I think it's best for them. I don't think Joe Burrow has anything else to prove except for the fact that he can win a game, he can win the Super Bowl, but it's more than proven on his behalf that he can be the reason the Bengals win. He's an elite quarterback. He's a top 5, top 4 quarterback in this league for sure. He don't have shit else to prove. Like, fix the offense. Fix the offensive line. Become more run first. Get him a legitimate tight end, which I thought they should have took McBride from Colorado State that came out. Yeah, I loved him. He was my number 1 tight end coming out. Yeah. But give him a legitimate option at tight end, man. Give him some easier throws. Like, if you look at Cincinnati offensively, there's not a lot of timing going on in that offense, man. It's a lot of long developing routes downfield. And you still keep running that same type of offense with a quarterback that's getting beat up behind a poor offensive line. Same issue I had with Deion Sanders at Colorado. It's not the offensive line fault that your son keeps getting beat up like that. You know the offensive line is bad, and you still calling on these long-ass developing plays.
Well, you got to do some chip blocks, and you got to do some quick passing. And, that's the thing I talked about with Colorado is like, yeah, Shadur's getting hit a lot, but guess what? You're also with 3 wide receivers. You got no tight end chip, and you're just letting them go right in there. And with Burrow, like, they're always looking for a big route. Like, they're not, they don't have the offensive line to go and look deep all the time. Right. At some point, you're going to have to make these quick throws. You're going to have to get someone that can make the catches. Like, if they had St. Brown, they'd be unstoppable. They had a guy like St. Brown, they'd be unstoppable. Like, who would be?
I thought they would get more out of Charlie Sanders. Not Charlie Sanders. Charlie Jones.
Who would
the wide receiver out of Purdue.
Who would be perfect in Cincinnati would be Darnell Mooney.
Yeah,
I think Darnell Mooney would be pretty good, but
or Xavier Worthy from Texas.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But yeah, the Bengals got to read. But the Bengals are going through the same thing that the Bills will be going. The Bills are going through right now. You're at a kind of like a crossroads of you're paying your quarterback. You got players that are leaving because you can't pay them, and you're kind of reaching outside your window. Like if your quarterback isn't staying healthy and he's not, that's why I respect the hell out of Patrick Mahomes because I mean, no matter what he's done, they've won.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think Cincinnati's in a better position than Buffalo, though.
Yeah.
I feel better about Zach Taylor than I do McDermott. I think McDermott is out.
Yeah,
at the end of this season, especially if Miami makes the playoffs and Buffalo doesn't. I don't see that division getting 2 teams in this year.
No.
Taylor's going to be there for the long run. Their big issue is just keeping Joe healthy.
Yep.
And figuring out that run game. They did draft the running back out of Syracuse. What's
Chase
his name?
Brown.
Chase Brown. They did draft Chase Brown, who I do like a lot. I expected a little bit more out of him, but I just think in order to keep Joe healthy for the long run, come playoff runs, you got to be able to run the ball a lot better.
Well, that's why I say with Buffalo. Like, if Buffalo had a run game, would you say that Josh Allen would be getting hit all the time? Absolutely not. And I think that's why you got to look at it like this. Like, if you're the Lions and you got Jared Goff, I mean, yeah, you look at it like this, but he's been insulated perfectly, like literally
Yeah.
perfectly. Like, as a quarterback, you would love to have a run game. You'd love to have a tight end. You'd love to have a running back that can get out of the backfield and catch passes. Like, that's what you want. And if you have two of those, if you have a running back that can go up the middle and then one that goes outside and can catch passes, like, you have the full template of like what you want in a perfect offense. You know what I'm saying? So I look at the Bills and I think they have an identity crisis. I look at the Bengals and I say they have an identity crisis. And then you got the Chiefs that are going, screw it. We got a top 10 defense now, guys.
We just gotta win different. Like that's what you do.
Right.
I just gotta win different. I mean, it brings back the age old question: the All Pro wide receiver or the All Pro tight end. As a quarterback, which one would you rather have? Because you can make the argument that Mahomes, he will be worse off with Tyreek Hill and without Kelsey than he is with Kelsey and without Tyreek Hill. I just think that the value of a consistent tight end offensively, especially not just only a tight end that can do everything, help out in the running game as well, but that consistent blanket, because tight ends are always open. They're always open. They're they're that one consistent mismatch against the defense that you can always count on. Now, whether or not you have a tight end that can actually make plays after the catch, is dependable hands-wise and whatnot, is completely different. That's what makes Sam Laporta so important for us. But when you're constantly just focused on Jamar Chase on the outside, you're a team that's just constantly focused on Tyreek Hill on the outside, or just constantly focused on Calvin Johnson on the outside, it's much easier to defend that. It's much easier defensively to tilt the coverages and take that away. And I just worry about Cincinnati moving forward because Higgins is gone. They've disrespected Higgins enough. Higgins did everything he wanted to. Well, they needed him to do there. They came out and told him they wasn't paying him. So he just being a good soldier and playing this season out, which I'm pretty sure you and I both can agree they're not taking this season to the playoffs.
No.
But he's guaranteed to be gone. A guy like Tyler Boyd, he could get offers from us.
Yeah.
In free agency. Boyd's going to get some money out there. So you talking about rebuilding that team with an injured Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, who's going to get a big bag. And then you haven't really spent too much money elsewhere. I'm just saying they need to, if they really want to win long run, get a solid receiving tight end for that boy.
Yep.
And unlock the running game. Because there's no reason to keep proving that we got Joe. We can air the ball out. We can do whatever we want. All right, enough of the ego football. The Chiefs handled it well. They traded away Tyreek Hill. They took the draft picks they got for Tyreek Hill, and they rebuilt that team in a different form around Patrick Mahomes. That's why they continue to win. And that's a good reason why they're probably going to win the AFC again this year.
Yep. That's what I mean. If you have a tight end, I mean, look at Brock Purdy. Like would he be as good as a player if he didn't have George Kittle going up the middle? Absolutely not. I mean, he obviously has Christian McCaffrey, but like at the same time, like when all else fails, he goes right to Kittle. And the thing I noticed about with Jared Goff is Sam Laporta being added to this offense has been huge for this offense. Absolutely huge, because you got a guy that's up the middle that now you got linebackers and safeties kind of going, okay, we can't really put too much on St. Brown. We have to go to him. And then now you got Jahmyr Gibbs come out of the backfield. That's all it is. So this has been a long.
Are you surprised James Mitchell hasn't had a bigger impact this season?
I thought he would have a bigger impact, but
because he looked good once he got healthy last year. He had 11 catches on 11 targets.
But I gotta tell you, this Brock Wright guy, it's like Django Unchanged. Like he's every pass he catches is a touchdown. It's like, okay, if you want to keep this up, then let's go. You have two tight ends, you're good. So
yeah. Like I said, hopefully we can either get it from Donovan Peoples-Jones or Jared, not Jared, but J-Mo.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a lot needs to be said for the fact that this guy, he's not a diva.
No.
He never complained about, last year coming back, he had a couple issues with complaining. Yeah. I think they've done a great job of reining him in. That's why I felt like this family-oriented culture they have here, the no-nonsense culture, they could have worked well with a guy like Jalen Carter. I really felt like it could have. Mm-hmm. But, all in all, if they get Jameson together, because like I'm really proud that he's out there blocking. He's happy for everybody that has success. And
Yeah.
then when he makes his play, he's happy for himself too. I like the fact he made that catch across the middle, held on to the ball, and if he can just be a game tilter for us, I think that really helps us moving forward. Doesn't take a lot of points in the playoffs typically.
I felt like when they drafted, when they were between the Atlanta Falcons was between Calais Campbell and the Detroit Lions. I felt like when they got Calais Campbell, they were not taking Jalen Carter at all, and that's because they don't have any veterans in that defensive line locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is a veteran that you look at in the defense line? Is it going to be Isaiah Buggs?
Brady? Oh, you talking about the Lions?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're the Lions, the reason they probably wanted Calais Campbell when he was a free agent was because they wanted him for the veteran leadership in the room. And then they didn't get him, and I was like, they're not going to draft Jalen Carter now. Like, they're not. Like, they need a veteran leader in that locker room. And I don't care. People could say, oh, what about Romeo Okwara, or what about Charles Harris, or what about Isaiah
Nobody ever
Buggs?
accused them of leadership.
And it's like, dude,
So
Calais Campbell is an NFL Man of the Year. Like, any team that he goes to is going to be happy to have a guy like that in their locker room. Like, that's just the way it is. That's what I felt like. I felt like with the Lions having Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds, Cleef, they had Marvin Jones for a short period of time, but they had guys that were in the locker room that you could look to and go, okay, he's a leader. Like, he's a leader, and that's the guy you got to follow, kind of thing.
yeah, I think Panay's considered one of those guys.
Yeah.
Would have been interesting to see how he and what's his name, Jalen Carter would have worked out together in practice, whatnot. At least in the overalls are coverings of the team. But all in all, man, Carter's in Philadelphia playing against the Eagles tomorrow night. We're looking good. 8-2. Hopefully, no more letdowns. We got the Packers coming up on Turkey Day in a few days.
They had their letdown spot, so that's good.
Yeah. You going live Thursday, or you can do any Wednesday night?
I'll probably do it Wednesday night, maybe. I'll have to talk to Tyler, but maybe Wednesday night because the injury report will come out. I don't think there's gonna be any injuries, so it'll be interesting the way that this week's gonna go because it's that short turnaround. They had the 3 games in like 14 days. You know what I'm saying? So that's a hard stretch for any team.
3 and 11.
Yep.
3 games in 11 days.
So yeah, you got a lot of tough football.
You gonna wrap this up, Darcy? Or see you came back, huh?
Well, I'm sitting here watching. I'm big fans of you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to all the Detroit Lions content.
I'm putting a bunch of links out there tomorrow, or maybe Tuesday. So
you guys did great today.
Yeah, we did our long show, man. That was crazy.
Appreciate it, man. It's fun.
No, lots of views. No, seriously, lots of views.
32 likes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, how'd you like those seats, though? Seriously.
They were great, man. They were great. As usual, once the game gets extra tight down the stretch, we made our way down to section 100, section 109. But it was great, man. Like I said, really appreciate you for it. Had a hell of a time, bro. Had a hell of a time. This is my first Lion game this season. Went to 3 last year. So hopefully the next one I go to is a playoff game. Or at least the Minnesota game, last game of the season, hopefully.
Yep, same with me. So I've never seen a playoff game at home, so this will be like uncharted territories because I wasn't born in '91, so I'm 94. So
we all got to be in the building for that playoff game.
I ain't seen good Lions football in all my lifetime, so this is new to me. But this team showed me something today. They just did. So
Joe, when were you born? Because I was like 16 years old, 1991.
Damn.
I wasn't.
I went through the Motor City Bad Boys. I went through championships, and I tried to be just like those Bad Boys, Piston or Brett Perriman.
1994 was the year I was born.
Oh,
I was 8 in 1991.
Yeah, so this is like all uncharted territory for me, I didn't get to see Barry like some of you, Calvin Johnson was like the only one I got to see. And obviously that era turned out to be total shit too. So
we had a bus trip and we went, I was like 19 years old. So I got to see, I sat in the end zone and all of a sudden Jerry Rice runs up like this, goes like that from not Joe Montana, but the young kid. And I jump up and I go, so you're an asshole. And he looks at me straight in the eye. Jerry Rice. He's like, okay. And he shakes his head and then he looks up to the crowd. My buddy Louie is going like this. What the hell? Why would you call him an asshole? But that's it. That's my story.
Yeah, it's fun. This is a fun year, and it's been fun just to talk football with you guys. And man, Minnesota Vikings are impressive at going to a touchdown. So
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But yeah, it's been good, fellas. Lions Avenue will be live tomorrow night to do another breakdown of the game. Hell of a victory. I get to go back and watch the game again. I love going to the game, watching it live, then coming back home and watching it.
Yeah.
Hopefully all 22 wise. And like I said, we'll be live tomorrow night around 9 p.m. You can find us on my particular page, my actual Facebook page, which is Walter Stringer. Also on LinkedIn, my actual name, my actual page on LinkedIn, my personal page, which is Walter Stringer. And then you'll also find us on Facebook on the Lions Avenue page. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, I agree with that. So
Do your best. Let's go. Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lions.
Oh my God! Victory Sunday.
The Giants look at their schedule and they go, oh, the Detroit Lions, and they put the big W, right?
Correct.
It's folks. It's everybody that is on the screen right now that is what makes this special, because this organization has been so bad for so long.